Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our open discussion with our interim president, Ken Long, and his senior leadership team. It is great to have you all here virtually, at least on YouTube. Before we begin today, my name is Justin Amon, and I serve as the assistant to the provost and coordinator of instructional support. But for today, I'll serve somewhat as your master of ceremonies. Just by way of preparing you for today's discussion, our chat feature is here on the right. In order for you to be able to comment today or to ask your question, we'll be taking all questions here via YouTube, although we are on Zoom. Your questions will come up on the right here on the chat feature. Just make sure that you are signed into YouTube. You are not able to make any kind of a comment unless you are signed in as a user on YouTube. With that said, it is my honor to introduce you to Mr. Ken Long, our interim president of East Stroudsburg University.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this virtual meeting of the ESU community, extended community, prospective students, returning students, parents, friends, and family. Tonight, we want to introduce you to our leadership team at the university so you have an idea of who you're talking with when you make a call to the campus. I'm not going to go through the entire group, but I will go through the senior leadership team so you know who to direct some of your inquiries to and questions to. I'm not sure where she's showing on your screen, but she's front and center for me, our provost, Joe Bruno. And bearing right to my right to her, I have our vice president of campus life, Santiago Solis. I have our vice president of research and economic development, Mary Frances Pasapak. I have our Vice President of Enrollment Management, Karen Lucas. We have our Chief of Staff, Miguel Barbosa. We have also our Director of University Relations, Brenda Friday. And we have our Vice President, our interim Vice President for, I just left that role about a week ago, so I still get the names mixed up a little bit. Our interim Vice President and CFO, Ginger Coleman, and our Executive Director of the Foundation, Rich Santoro. We also have a number of other guests, administrators here on the line. Those that I think might stand out are Amy Freeman, our Director of Health and Wellness, Curtis Dugar, our Director of Dining and Res Life, Joe Acop, our Executive Director of Student Association, Dr. Gene Kelly. I see the doctor on his name, so I had to read that out for everyone. Dr. Gene Kelly, Dean of Students. I don't see Cornelia somewhere. I thought I had her on my screen, but Cornelia Sewell, she's our Vice President of Diversity, and she has another fancy title. I can't remember all the names on it right now. And And our Student Government President is joining us here, Elijah Brown. I think I captured everything there on the screen that those that you may direct questions to or may have questions for. Tonight, we want to just kind of give you an update of what's going on campus, some of the things that have taken place over the past several months since we left in the spring semester. We have had a summer session going on. Most of that has been remote. And in the past few weeks, we did have a few on-site lab sessions that we wanted to test out some of the new changes that we put in place. But looking forward to the fall semester, we have a number of things that we want to update you on. First and foremost, most of our classes will be remote for the fall. That was not an easy decision to come by. We went back and forth for several weeks trying to evaluate the pros and cons. We know we are a residential campus. Part of what makes ESU what we are and who we are is the interaction. Our ability to conversate, our ability to meet, greet, and just lounge around in different areas and talk with them. I know our faculty love it. I know our administrators love it. And most importantly, I know our students like the engagement with the entire campus community. So going remote is a change for us, but we believe it's the best decision for ESU at this time. Since ESU made that decision, many other universities followed suit. So I'd like to see we were leaders in Pennsylvania, along with one of our sister institutions, but we think it is the best thing given the climate that we're living in right now. So what does that mean? Primarily remote. What that means for us is that most of the course sections, the lectures, will take place with the students at their homes or residence or online at some other location that they may choose. Our faculty will be in a number of different locations. In some cases, they will be home as well. In other cases, they'll be in their office. In other cases, they will be in classrooms. So there you will experience seeing faculty member in classrooms while you're distanced at home or at some other place of work. Another big change is most of our resident halls rooms will be closed. We will have a few students on campus. Those students that need to be on campus for clinical rotation, teaching assignments, and other special reasons, we will have some students on campus. The numbers are changing a little bit. We were anticipating as much as 400 to 500 students. It looks like there'll be close to 100 to 200 students in our resident halls. But that is something that we again think is important for everyone to be aware. Our dining hall will be open. Our main dining hall will be open. We won't have all the services that we normally have, but we will have the main dining hall open with a variety of options for students and employees to take advantage of, including grab and go, where a student may choose to pick up something, grab it, and take it back to their room or take it back to their off-campus location or take it with them to work. So those are some of the options that will be available for students. Library will be open. We will enhance our online delivery for library services, but the library will be open for those students that are in the area that need to go to the library. It's important to note that almost all of our locations on campus will require you to have your student ID card to swipe in. We are controlling access to most of our locations, just for the safety of the students, faculty, and staff on campus, so we don't have people that are not part of the ESU community going into those spaces. For example, the library. If you're not a student, faculty, or staff of ESU, you will not be able to use the library at this time, again, just to control the environment that we're in. Other services that will be available, counseling services will still be available for students. Students with disabilities, they will be available for you, both via online, or remote, or face-to-face. Those things will be made, arrangements will be made through the Student Health Center. All students will continue to have health insurance. The campus health insurance, not health insurance, but health services. Lehigh Valley Hospital, who provides our student health services, will continue to provide those services going forward. So we thought that was something important for students to have. And if you're in the ESU community, those services will be available for you. You may be sitting there in your house right now saying, Ken Long, just a week ago, I was looking at Dr. Welsh, Dr. Marsha Welsh. I've been in communication with her. She's in Florida right now and enjoying the lovely Sunshine State. I took over as Vice President of Administration and Finance to be interim president while they search for a new president. Prior to that, I spent the last 7 years as Vice President for Administration and Finance and Chief Financial Officer for ESU. During that time, I've been involved and closely worked with Dr. Welsh on a number of different projects, and I plan on continuing in that role as interim president to maintain some of the things that she brought forth and continuing that until a new president is selected. That is out of my hands, out of our hands when a new president is selected. That's our Council of Trustees and Board of Governors will take on that role. We anticipate that taking place throughout the fall semester and sometime early to mid 2021. A new president will take the helm, and I get to go back to my wonderful job as CFO. A little more about me. Prior to working at ESU, I worked at Kutztown University in a similar role as Assistant Vice President for Administration and Finance, and at the University of Toledo as Associate Vice President for Budget and Planning. I've been in higher education for about a little over 32 years now. So I've been doing it for quite a while in a variety of capacities, but mainly in the administration and financial side of the house. Um, I'm fortunate enough to have a great team as I serve as interim. The provost, Joe Bruno, will continue to hold the helm of the academic area. So I do expect her to maintain the same level of expertise that she's been doing for the past 5 years. So you should not miss a beat in anything we're getting from the academic side. I'll say our two newcomers, but it's not really new anymore. Dr. Solis has been here about a year now. It's not quite a year, getting close. And then Karen Lucas has been here for a little over a month, or just about a month. Those two come with great experience, a wealth of experience, and I think everyone in the campus community will acknowledge that they bring great value to ESU and to the campus community. Rounding out the leadership team, Ginger Coleman, Brenda Frade, Miguel Barbosa, and Rich Santoro, they make up the rest of the leadership team at the university. And again, all of them have been doing various roles in ESU or the state system for many years. Again, I think we will provide a continued service in honoring and respecting the services that Dr. Welsh provided for the past 8 years. I hope you don't miss a beat on anything we do, because most of us have been working with her, and most of the decisions she's made has been in consultation with the rest of us for her 8 years, at least 7 for me, Miguel Barbosa, Chief of Staff, for all 8 of his years. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Justin to see what questions you have for us and see if we can help you. Justin, I
got muted. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, President Long. Our first question here is, how will incoming freshmen get student IDs?
Okay, the student IDs, there's a couple of ways incoming freshmen can get an ID. You can reach out to the card office and they can upload a picture. They have a secure way of uploading photos to you, and you can do that. Or you can come to campus. So depending on where you live, you can do it remotely, or you can come to campus. If you live further away and you're not planning on visiting campus anytime soon because you're working remote, I would say just wait until hopefully January, we get you back here and you take the photo and we can do it that way. But if you are in the area and you need an ID to get into the library and other areas, the card office will be open. Access. They will have limited hours, so you will need to check the website for the hours, and then they will make arrangements to get your photo ID taken at that time.
Great. Our next question, you mentioned in your opening remarks something about students staying in their room. Could you talk a little bit about some of the students who might be staying on campus?
Yes, I'm actually, you know what, I'm going to turn that over to our Vice President of Campus Life so I can take a sip of water and he can answer that question.
Sure, not a problem. Great question. So like President Long mentioned, we do have currently between 80 and 100 students who will be residing in the residence halls this fall. And those students are actually selected by academic affairs by the provost and the associate provost. And they work with the deans to identify those students that need to complete face-to-face requirements such as labs and clinicals and student teaching. So we only limited those numbers of students to be here on campus. We are working with other special populations. For example, our Dean of Student Life, Dr. Jean Kelly, is also kind of fielding other kinds of requests. One example would be our housing insecure students. We are working with area property owners and also with our VP for Enrollment Management, Karen Lucas, to identify some CARES Act funds to assist housing insecure students with securing housing and paying for housing for the fall semester. The reason that we decided to go off campus is it was quite disruptive last spring when we had to ask the students to leave their residence halls quite quickly because of COVID-19. It was a bit of a challenge to find adequate housing off campus for our housing insecure students. So we had long conversations and we decided that in order to prevent any further disruption to their living arrangements and also to their studies, that we would work with them and with local property owners to house them off campus from the beginning. So that therefore, in the event that we have another situation where students living on campus have to exit those residence halls, our housing and secure students will not be disrupted.
I want to just add in a comment that Vice President Solis brought up about last semester. One of the decisions of going remote for the fall semester was to minimize disruption to our campus community, to our students. Provost Bruno and her academic leadership team, along with our faculty, for the past 4 months, essentially 5 months maybe, have been planning for various scenarios that we could be impacted by COVID-19 once the fall semester started. Online, remote, online, face-to-face, partially face-to-face. I mean, you name it, they were looking at it, they were analyzing it. The problem we had was the unknown. It wasn't a question of if the community would be impacted by COVID-19, it's when and how large of an impact would it have, just as it's having an impact throughout our nation. So we felt it best that if we plan now, we put all our efforts in making sure our remote education addresses all of the needs, all of the things that we can plan for, we would be able to provide continuity of service that we wouldn't be able to do if we're planning for 4, 5, 6 different scenarios. So I'm going to give kudos to Provost Bruno and her team for doing all of that work, and we have it, and we'll hold on to those different plans. But going remote allows us to focus on providing the quality education that you are looking for.
When might ESU make a decision for the spring semester regarding on-campus living or on-campus housing or classes?
Well, we will monitor the situation right now. We're just focusing primarily on the fall semester, because we haven't even started that yet. We will assess the situation in mid-October sometime on what's going on, and we'll continue to monitor that. We do plan on communicating with the campus community and keeping you informed, but it would be a little too early for us to say what that decision would be for the spring semester at this point. Our hope and our plan, or our hope and our desire, is that we can have the entire ESU community back on campus at the end of the fall semester. That's our hope and our desire, but we don't control all of the circumstances that may impact us. So I'll say stay tuned for a response on that.
Thank you. For students who might receive some services via OASIS, how will students receive their tests, for instance? Will they be read to them or recorded for them? Also, will OASIS still need some student workers?
I'm going to deviate from what I said in the beginning, that I'm going to rely primarily on our vice president. Since I see Amy sitting right there smiling, I'm going to say Amy, our director of student health services, if she wants to chime in and address that question.
Sure, thank you, President Long. So OASIS has been working on figuring out different ways to handle this. And some of the things that we're going to be looking at doing is having the availability to have the reader scribe as part of our testing services be able to be done remotely. We're looking at a variety of different programs, text-to-talk programs that we can utilize for that. And for specific answers around what your specific needs are for test taking, I would reach out to Jill Boyle, and you could check with the OASIS website. As far as student workers go, we're still waiting to see what our needs are going to be as far as online services, because we're going to be providing both of our services, both online, in person, as far as the testing center, or if you had to meet one of our disability specialists, we're certainly able to accommodate that. We had put plexiglass in some of our offices, so if students do need to come in for face-to-face, we could do that safely while maintaining social distancing and proper precautions. But one of the things that I'm going to say is we are looking at, we might have a limited amount of student note taker positions. I don't think we're going to have any desk students in our building this year, and we're probably not going to have any graduate students this semester coming up in our areas, but there may be some positions open for student note takers.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
President Long, are students still responsible for getting their textbooks? If so, how will they go about doing so?
You know what? I know Provost Bruno has been working on a variety of different opportunities as it relates to textbook. I know Joe Acop could also answer that question, but I'm going to let the Provost jump in first to talk about some of the things that they're doing, and if she wants to hand it off to Joe Acop, our Executive Director of Student Association, to chime in as well if necessary.
Ken, you're absolutely right. You'll need both Joes for answering this question. But first, as the provost, I work very closely with Joe Acop and the bookstore at ESU to provide, make sure that textbooks are available in a variety of ways. But one of the things that we're testing with this fall being primarily online, particularly for selected math classes, is first day access through D2L, where students would be able to take advantage of having a textbook materials available right online in the first day of class. But this is a pilot that we're doing, and it only affects about quite a few students, but nevertheless a limited math sections for our incoming students. Joe is really best because there's a third Joe in this, and he's the fellow Joe Noor who runs the bookstore at ESU. And Joe, I'm going to turn to you to share with what we also have available for our students in terms of textbook acquisition.
Thank you, Provost. I appreciate it. As far as being able to get your textbooks right now, the best way to get them is to log on to the Barnes & Noble bookstore, ESU bookstore website. That's esubncollege.com. You can get on there based on the courses that you're taking and the outlines that the professors have for the textbooks and course materials you need. You can go right on there, select them all. Currently, we're running for free shipping for over $49, and you can get it shipped anywhere, wherever you are in the United States. So you can get your textbooks that way. If you'd like to do it in person, we will also be opening the bookstore on the 24th of this month. It will have limited hours. The first week we're open will be 10 to 3. You can go onto the bookstore that week, and you can order online and do a pickup in store. So those are your options, 3 options. You can order online, which we're highly suggesting so that you can get them right away and be ready for the first day of classes. You can do in-person pickup, or you can purchase directly in the store.
Thanks, Joe and Joe.
Knowing that PSAC has canceled sports for the fall, do you think that ESU players who live in the area will be able to get together for practices or workouts? Will they be able to use the field or ESU fields?
We're looking at that. I would actually ask that you, for athletes, to reach out to your coaches for direction. I just received some information about an hour or two ago from the NCAA regarding Division II sports for the fall. And then there's a meeting actually on Monday with the PSAC to update us on some of the requirements and restrictions and what we will be able to do and not do. So I may know a little more after Monday's webinar or web conference call, but I would recommend that you reach out to your coach to see what you're permitted to do. We will allow students, if permissible, to use some of our spaces, provided that we can maintain it at a proper CDC guidelines. As many of you know, our field house is a very popular place. Our rec center is a very popular place. Students really like to exercise and work out, so we have to make sure we maintain good social distancing in those environments and make sure we can protect the safety of the students and staff that's in those locations.
Thank you, President Long. Could you talk a little bit why, or a little bit about why ESU made the decision to go remote in the way they did, rather than, for instance, bringing in all of our freshman students onto campus?
Yeah, that was interesting because that was a lengthy discussion we had. We looked at bringing freshmen in. We looked at bringing seniors or graduating students in. We looked at every kind of scenario And we decided that bringing just freshmen in limits their college experience. It does not give them the full breadth of the college experience that they would get by just having their classmates, because being at college is not just being a freshman with your freshman classmates. It also means interacting with your upperclassmen. But the biggest reason why we decided not to bring any particular group in was safety. We wanted to make sure we could provide a safe environment. And doing that would have required us to be able to properly space students in the resident halls and throughout campus. We were not concerned whether we could provide a safe environment in our classrooms or in our labs, or even on our sporting fields or courts. We think our faculty, and through our faculty leadership with the deans and chairs of those departments under Provost Bruno, and in the athletic area, we thought we would be able to manage that with the coaches and do a fairly good job. And our student life area also had put in really good parameters, but we're not able to be there 24 hours a day. I joke with the team and say, well, we can control about 6 hours of the day, but what about the other 18 hours? What do we do? So we put safety first. We say that quite often. And just bringing freshmen or just bringing seniors, we would be overlooking our responsibility of putting safety first. And we felt doing it this way was the safest way for our entire campus community. And we want to make sure when you come back to campus, you get the full Warrior experience.
Thank you. Going back to our conversation about student IDs, could you mention maybe when a student should get their ID by, if they need it right away, or what would they use their IDs for?
A student in the area would use their IDs for a number of things. A student in the area would use their ID to get into different facilities, such as the rec center if they wanted to work out in the rec center. There'll be limited hours in there, but there will be opportunities to work out in the rec center. That's not going to be a required service, but it would be something students can opt into. The library. A student wants to go sit in the library. Sometimes you just don't want to sit in your apartment with your friends, and you want to go to a library and you want to get away. That would be an opportunity. You may have a meal plan. You have a meal plan. You need to go into Dansbury Commons for your meals. You'll need your ID card for that. As a student, and I remember many, many years ago when I was a student, your ID card also gives you access to other things off campus. And they say, show your student ID. So those are some of the benefits of having your ID, security as well as your safety. In terms of getting your ID, the website, if you go on to the student ID website webpage, it will have information about how to get your ID now, or how to get it if you want to do it remotely. So I believe that information is up. If it's not up at this point, I will make sure it's up by the end of this week on the website.
Thank you so much. Will the ESU food pantry still be open this semester? And if so, can financial donations be made somewhere online since we are not on campus to put food in the donation bins?
You know what? I'm going to actually ask if I see Jean on here. Do I see Jean? Jean Kelly, our Dean of Students. I'm going to turn that one to Jean Kelly to see if he can address that question for you.
Hi, folks. Yes, the Warrior Food Pantry is planning to be open this fall semester. I will check on the availability of financial donations, though. That's something I'd like to confer with some other folks on campus about, just to make sure. And if we do, we'll find a way to place a giving link or some sort of web-based way to be able for folks to do that. If you are interested in supporting students in other ways who might actually need some additional assistance this fall semester, you can always reach out to the ESU Foundation, who has a number of different funds that we utilize to help students when they're in need, including textbooks and other emergency sort of needs.
And that, I'm glad Jean mentioned that, because the foundation does a number of different things for the university. When COVID-19 hit, the executive director, Rich Santoro, was one of the first persons to say, what can we do to help? And then he had a number of alumni come out and reach out and say, how can we help? So we had alumni donate computers. We had alumni make donations for to help provide home and food security for students. So they did step up. So I would encourage you, if you're looking at doing financial donations, yes, the food pantry would be one option, but the ESU Foundation is a great option. And I can tell you right here that they do take financial donations, and it could be directed to the different resources that you're looking at trying to obtain, including helping students in the area with that need support with food and housing. So I think that's a great suggestion and comment by our Dean of Students. And Rich, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Sure. Thanks, President Long. Yeah, as Ken mentioned, the foundation, we do have a number of emergency funds that we do some outreach to get funding for. We cannot take contributions for the food bank, since that is actually run by St. Matthew's Church, even though we provide volunteers for that. But we can put money into emergency fund and then get that money to the students as they need it. We won't give the money directly to the students because that may cause some tax issues or some loss of financial aid. So we will offer gift cards for food. If it's rent assistance, we can maybe help with that. But we have been raising, even prior to this year, money for emergency funds for our students, since there is a lot of need out there.
Thanks, Rich.
I'm going to take the liberty here to combine a couple questions. When is the first bill due for the fall semester? And then also, have those bills been adjusted at all, considering COVID-19 and the change to remote learning?
Okay, I'm not sure if Ginger wants to answer that, or Ginger want me to continue to take that helm.
Sure. So the latest update that we got, financial aid is currently making some adjustments to students' bills to make sure that financial aid is applied properly. We are making some adjustments to the fees that are being charged to students this year based on the activities that will be available on campus. So our goal is to have those bills, adjusted bills, out to students and families early next week. And then the due date will be a week from the date those bills are issued.
Thank you, Ginger. And to go a little further with that, and Ginger's been here all of 3 days too. So the fees, we basically eliminated all those fees that students can't avail themselves to on campus. As I mentioned, dining service, everyone was released from the dining contract, from the housing contract, transportation, rec center, student activities, university center. The only one that we felt that was important, or one that we felt was important, was the health center fee. And the reason why the student health service fee. The importance of that is we will be providing a number of services through that. The health service fee, the student health service fee, pays for OASIS, the question earlier about OASIS. It supports counseling services. It also provides a number of different services that we will be doing and making available to students. So if you are on campus or if you're remote, there'll be a number of different things you can take advantage of from the Student Health Center under the direction of Amy Freeman. And all of those services will still be provided in its full, in their full nature, whether you're remote or whether you're local.
Now, is Warrior induction going to happen online? If so, what does that look like?
I'm not sure if Gene or
that will be Gene.
Gene wants to take that one. Okay.
Hi again, everyone. So yes, Warrior Induction will be taking place online for those who are wondering what Warrior Induction is. Warrior Induction is our fall welcome program for new students. I did send students an email, I think about a week and a half ago, reminding them of what the dates for that would be. Right now, we are slated for Saturday, August 29th and Sunday, August 30th. we will do a very condensed portion of that day just as an opportunity to make sure that all of our students are ready to go in terms of what we know they're going to need for the fall semester. We're going to be highlighting specifically technology, how to navigate the different technological services and programs that ESU will be using, as well as how to be prepared academically for what it's going to be like to conduct your fall semester pretty much from home. So we'll be doing some things that'll be also an opportunity for students to meet with other students who are in their FYE classes, get to know their peer mentor, who's a person that they can directly relate to, connect with, ask questions of, get support from. So yes, information will be going out to students once we have a finalized schedule of times, and that will be all done virtually.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you. An academic question here. Will classes be pre-recorded through Zoom, through notes, or something else, a combination of things? What will that look like for a student?
As President Long has mentioned, Academic Affairs has really been working on providing what we would call multimodal opportunities for students to take their courses. So even though they will be online primarily, they will also be following pretty much the regular schedule that was scheduled for the courses, but we all know that we have to be flexible, adaptable, and agile in the learning environment now. So it depends on each course and each faculty member, but faculty have been encouraged to make their lectures available for those students who cannot attend a class at that time. So we call that asynchronous, so they can make them available. Also, as we said, we may have a combination of some limited face-to-face, particularly for our graduate students and a few of our, for example, our nursing students, but we'll also offer Zoom capability for those students for whatever reason can't come on to the face-to-face experience. So they refer that to multimodal, but what we like to say, we use a variety of techniques of delivery in one course, trying to be able to make it manageable for the faculty member in order to deliver it. But that is a concern for us to make sure the course content is available to students in a variety of ways. But again, it's by each course. We're in the midst of updating our course schedule, which has been posted on the ESU portal and in Warriorfish for our students. We will be updating it again because we needed to make some changes in order to make sure we were able to sustain all our offerings for the fall. So I encourage families and students to keep up to date. We also are encouraging both students and faculty to connect faculty advisor to student to make sure you know what your options are for each course. Shortly, each course will be also available for students to look at and how the delivery will be accomplished. I just want to try and underscore this is certainly a new normal for all of us, for you as parents and students, and for us also as the faculty and the people who want to be there for you and hopefully get back more to the normal we're used to. So in this interim period, we will really follow what we call the FA principle: flexibility, agility, and adaptability in the delivery of our courses to hopefully continue our students to progress towards their ultimate goal of graduation.
Thank you, Provost Bruno. One question here: how many hours can a student use the rec center, and what type of equipment is available to them at the recreation center?
I'm going to let Joe Acop address that question. I think I know the answers, but I think I'm going to let him jump in to sell the rec center a little more.
Thank you, President Long. I appreciate it. The Mattioli Recreation Center will be open this fall. We will be opening from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m., 12 to 3 p.m., and 5 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. We're going to be implementing CDC guidelines and protocols to ensure the safety of everyone. And all the hours that we're open, you can come as many times and stay as long as you want during those times that we're open. In the building, we do have a lot of great equipment and areas for you to exercise. We have a fully outfitted fitness center with cardio machines, strength machines, and free weights. We have an arena with different sport courts. and we have a group fitness studio as well. We will be offering group fitness classes once a day. They will also be streamed live. So you'll be able to partake in those, and we probably will record them. And we will also have some other programs in Campus Rec that you'll be able to take part in. As President Long had shared, we will not be collecting auto charging students the rec center fee this fall. It will be an opt-in process. You will be able to go to the front desk and choose to be a member of the rec center as a student. And then we will also have an online option as well. We will be messaging next week or the week after on how students can become members of the rec center. The memberships for the rec center are only open to our ESU community. And like I said, again, we are doing everything to make sure that that space is going to be safe, clean, and available for you to exercise and to get the best out of the experience.
Thank you, Joe. And again, I want to highlight that that's an opt-in option for students, and it's only for students, faculty, and staff. The ESU community are the only ones that will be permitted in the rec center. And again, from a safety standpoint, we thought that's the best way to manage that.
Thank you. The next question here is, when will the update of the course offerings be completely finished so we can finalize our schedules?
I'm going to Provost, I know she's been mentioning that to me already a couple of times, so I'll let her take that and run with it.
Yeah, I know everybody's anxious for that, and I certainly am sensitive to that. As I said, we had to make some major changes in the schedule, and this is even on top of accommodating for our new primary online format. We really have set the goal for by the end of this week. That's why I encourage you to look at the website. We will definitely notify you. We're sort of doing the final review on the schedule as we speak. In fact, I looked over to my phone to realize my associate provost is still trying to tweak some of the final details of the schedule. So our goal is for by the end of this week. We're hoping to make that, and we certainly will make it clear. We've been working with our student government leaders. It's been wonderful for working with Elijah and also his academic VP, so to speak, who is Will Green. The students are working with us to make sure students talk to students also about this updated schedule so you can better plan. You know, so simply, we're hoping to get it done by the end of this week. And you will be hearing from us in the normal forms of media, including through our student government when it's available.
Thank you, Provost.
How will a student know which books to purchase ahead of time for his classes as a freshman?
You want to take that again, Provost Bruno?
Well, the faculty submit their what text they need for their classes. So the bookstore should have all the text up to date that what students need. And Joe, I'm correct on that, correct? Yes, he's nodding for me. Thank you, Joe. It's really nice to have another Joe to talk to. But so that they should be available through the bookstore. If you know what your courses are taking, you will be able to find out what books are needed for that particular course.
And I'll just add, on the ESU website, there is a tool that you can actually pull up the subject, the CRN of the course that you are taking specifically, and the faculty that you are taking it with. The CRN is a unique code for every course that you would plug into that website, and it actually will pull all the books and where they're available at the bookstore and the cost. So there is a great tool that Joe Acob mentioned earlier on that ESU Barnes & Noble website that is available so that you could pick out your books there.
Justin, where would I get my CRN from? How would I get that?
On your course schedule that you look at, and I can't say on Banner or My ESU portal. I'm out of touch there. The My ESU portal, you go to either Concise Student Schedule, or there's one other that isn't coming to me right now, but it will give you your CRN right there. If not, you can work your way through it by knowing what time your class is and who the instructor is, and you can find it that way as well.
And it's always great that Justin was a student many years ago. I'll put more many, so he knows the nuances of this far better than most of us. Well, I'm going to take a second because I think it's important to hear from a few other people. And I know there's some more questions that might be out there. But I want to give our Vice President of Enrollment Management a chance to say a few words, as well as our Student Government President. So Karen Lucas, would you want to, can you say a few words about some of the things that you're doing with new students and some of the things that are happening that might impact new students as well as continuing students in financial aid, registrar's area, or any of your other responsibilities?
Yeah, absolutely. For all of you continuing students, we know that finances have been a challenge, and there are CARES funds available, and the application for additional support is available on the financial aid website. You do have until August the 10th to apply, so there is a deadline. We want to make sure we're able to serve as many students as possible. So apply this week, apply over the weekend. We'd love to help you if it's possible. As long as you're eligible for financial aid, we'll be more than happy to help support. We've also got some additional scholarship dollars to help as well. If you need to engage on campus, one of the things that we're going to be rolling out in the next couple of weeks is a way for you to make an appointment, whether it's in person or a Zoom appointment, with various enrollment center staff members. So we'll be sending messages out to you about how to download that app so that you can interact with enrollment services personnel, whether it's in the registrar's office, financial aid, or undergraduate or graduate admissions, in any way that you'd like to do that. So that's coming soon. Working with Student Affairs, and hopefully we'll be hosting a spotlight series. And you know, that's primarily for your personal enrichment this fall. And we're going to invite faculty members and people from our community and different students to come together and have conversations about really important topical issues. So more on that. Keep an eye out in your email and on social media.
Okay, I'm going to add one more comment. Karen mentioned the financial aid offices and services. We know many of us in the community have been impacted by COVID-19. So if you, your parents, have been impacted by it and it changed your financial situation, reach out to the financial aid office and see what they can do to help you, because there are different things that they can do given the circumstances to kind of really look at your situation as it applies right now. May not have been your situation 6 months ago or a year ago, but it is your situation. It is the new reality that you're dealing with. So I would encourage you to reach out to the financial aid office to find out what other support that's there that can help you under these circumstances, given the conditions. They did mention some CARES Act money that the university received, all universities receive, to be directed to students. It's limited, but it is there. The foundation also has opportunities, but the financial aid office knows about all of those opportunities that exist. So I definitely encourage you to reach out to the financial aid office if you need assistance and your financial situation has changed from last year to this year. Definitely reach out to them. Elijah, you want to say a few words to the campus community?
Oh yeah. Hey everyone, my name is Elijah Brown. I'm currently the student government president at ESU. I'm also a graduate student at ESU. I've recently graduated from ESU back in the spring semester of 2020 and came back for graduate school for political science. So I'll let you get a little background of what I'm doing. So I want to talk about two things primarily, the goals of student government this semester and also my experiences at ESU, just to get students like some advice moving forward. I think this would be a good opportunity for that. So the first thing I want to talk about, student government this upcoming academic year is focusing on a couple of different goals. So the first one that we're looking into is actually creating a civic engagement program on campus for students, faculty, and staff. So essentially this program will be focusing on voter education for students, focusing on local elections, state elections, federal elections, also issues that are going on in the country. So obviously, you know, COVID-19 is a big political issue now. You also focus like police brutality is another thing. So students will be familiarized with what's actually going on around, not just, you know, what they see on social media, but also like around the entirety of the country and Pennsylvania as it is. Another thing is that we're also going to look into adjusting the ESU website that actually gets updated data for students to register to vote, students to find out if they are already registered to vote, to check that on the various websites for their state government web pages. Another thing is looking into giving students the ability to check where they're registered to vote as well, and like what is exactly, you need to vote here, you need to vote there, and stuff like that. Like that's one of the things I was going to talk about. And one of the major things that we're looking into like next semester as well is focusing on diversity and inclusion. So considering everything that's been going on in news, diversity and inclusion is a big issue, not just at ESU, but also across the country. So like just talking about these issues, we're focusing on like changing policies at ESU, working with the Board of Student Government Presidents, an entirety of the public university system of Pennsylvania. So there's a lot of work that's being done behind the scenes for policies. However, student government is not just for like, just that. We're also, if students like ever need help, reach out to us. We're not afraid to like say, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. We're here for the students, and the students are, and we won't exist without any student support. So if anyone ever asks questions, tell I guess a little easy thing is have students go on Instagram or on social media, search up ESU Student Government Association or ESU SGA. That'll be really easy to contact us for our social media pages. I know like students are always active on that. Another thing is also emailing me at ebron27@live.esu.edu if you have any questions or concerns that are going on with the university and you're just not comfortable talking about it right now. And just moving away from like those topics that we're focusing on for next semester, there's a lot of other things that are happening behind the scenes as of right now. But just reflecting on my experiences as a student here, since I have that ability of my 4 years and now my 5th year for grad school, a couple things that I've learned. There's 3 pieces of advice. The first thing is students who are like, the best thing to do is honestly like just talk to your advisor, talk to your professor. Don't be afraid of that. For the most part, like my political science professors, they're not intimidating, but they do have a lot of experience. Like one of them actually helped rewrite the Icelandic constitution. Crazy enough, he works with the Nobel Peace Prize laureate conference that was supposed to be held annually. He does a lot of things. Another one works with a lot of politicians in Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, and she has a lot of experience, but guess what? They're not intimidating. They're human beings. They're willing to talk to you. They're understanding. So don't be afraid of that. Second thing is, second thing I really want to talk about is not being afraid of just going outside your circle. It's uncomfortable. Yes, freshman year, I did not want to go outside my circle. I was not comfortable with that. Trust me, I know what that feels like. But once you start like going to classes, you start making friends, you're like, let me try this. Honestly, it opens the door for a lot of things. I was originally a computer science major, to be honest. I wanted to keep this brief, but I think it's really good for students who are listening to this to know more about this. I got involved with a political science club on campus as a computer science major. And I switched majors to political science over time, just because I saw what the club was doing. I was interested and I wanted to support. One professor is like one of the most amazing people I've ever met. So just don't be afraid of that. And the third thing is, especially with COVID-19, try to have fun. Try to make sure you put your mental health above everything else, because you're going to be stressed, especially with everything else going on now. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be focusing on different things. You're trying to have a job not off campus at the same time. It's going to require a lot of multitasking. And to be honest, it is overwhelming at times. But remember, focus on yourself first and then prioritize everything else around you. And to the parents that I know are going to be stressing over students' grades, trust me, the students are worried as much as you are for the most part, especially freshman year when a lot of things kind of you need to adjust to. So that's all I really want to say as of right now.
Thank you, Elijah. I got a chuckle out of that about students and their grades, though. Elijah hits on a couple of good points, so I think, and I think it's important that we highlight ESU. ESU, if you have been on campus, if you're a continuing student or returning student, ESU has something for everyone. It's something, if you want to get involved with sports, we have as many sports as any Division II school. I think there's only 2 schools in the country that might have us beat with Division II. Westchester and maybe one other out there that may have more Division II. We are one of the most competitive teams across the board in all of our sports. We field great athletes. And if you're not into the intercollegiate athletics, our rec center and our rec club sports area is huge. I mean, you're looking at over 2,000 students participate in club sports or in the rec center sports. So sporting is part of our heritage. It's part of ESU's DNA. If you know about ESU, it's athletics and extracurricular activities is part of our DNA. And you're in the Poconos. So you have great opportunities to take advantage of those things. So I do want to highlight, as Elijah said, there's things to do, get involved. We've been locked up, for lack of better words, for the better part of 4 months now, 5 months, and this will be another 3 months on top of that. So I'm looking forward to getting everyone back on campus and actually charging Santiago and his team to really, make this a very, very fun, energetic, engaging semester when we get everyone back on campus. There'll be things to do during the fall semester, but when we can get everyone back on campus, I will be charging Santiago to really go out and make this experience and let everyone enjoy that time that we couldn't enjoy because of this thing called COVID-19 or the coronavirus. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to do it. We have a few other people here that I also want to give a chance to say a couple of words about some of the things that are going on in the area. One person, Cornelia Sewell Allen, our Assistant Vice President for Inclusive Excellence. Cornelia, you want to say a couple of words about some of the things that are happening in your area, both remotely and when students return?
Thank you, President Long. Absolutely. I think it's hard to follow up Elijah because he said so many wonderful things and really highlighted some key things that myself and staff and some students have been working on, not just starting with COVID-19, but since returning to ESU last June, working on some concrete goals and initiatives that we feel are necessary to move our campus forward. So as an incoming student, if you're new to ESU, Dr. Kelly has been working on orientation, and as he mentioned before, warrior induction. A part of that suite of programs that are going to be offered to you speaks specifically to technology and things that you need to know before you arrive on campus. But the second part of that is really going to speak to diversity. And so you will have to complete a diversity, equity, and inclusion training module in addition to the sexual assault, Title IX, other prescription drugs, those things to get you acclimated and familiar with the terms and things that you should be aware of as a student, as an ESU warrior. Other things that I want to make you aware of from a student support services area. So as a student at ESU, we have the Center for Multicultural Affairs and Inclusive Education, the Gender and Sexuality Center. Both of those departments are working very hard to make sure that we continue to provide supportive services for our students. Some of that is going to be virtual, of course, where you can hop on and meet with any of our professionals to talk about issues that you may be having, how we can support you, how can we help navigate some of that rough terrain as you're trying to get to different advisors or faculty members, but also a way and a space for you to be able to network with your fellow students, have those conversations. So for example, the Center of Multicultural Affairs often shepherds our multicultural student organization. So how do we help you continue the work? If you're a member of the Black Student Union, if you're a member of our Pride organization or Feminist Alliance, but also linking our current students to our incoming students, which is so important for building community. Some of you may have heard me share about our Women of Color initiative that we were working on since January, a group of faculty and staff across different departments and different divisions, putting together a plan to really support our women of color. And so we will, in the spring, we actually started our Sister Chat Hour. We are doing that again in the fall so that you can hop on and have conversations with us and find a level of support and community. But we're also adding a workshop hour to that monthly, where we're going to be introducing our students to leaders in the community and regionally, so that again, you're still building network and supportive services, even if that's in a virtual environment. My colleague, Curtis Dugar, also shepherds our Men of Color Alliance, so he will be doing some similar initiatives with that. So there's a lot of student engagement going on. I know my colleagues in academic affairs, theater, art, we're in constant communication about these creative ideas that they have to engage our community about these seemingly tough topics, and often tough topics around racism, systemic oppression, and what we as an ESU community need to do to ensure that our warriors feel like they belong on our campus and that we're doing everything to eliminate barriers to your education. With that being said, I would be remiss if I don't mention what we're doing on the faculty side, right? And so our faculty have been wonderful. As some of you may know, I'm the co-chair of our Diversity and Inclusion Committee on campus. They have been working diligently on continuing the goals that we set for our campus. One of those goals was to create a diversity, equity, and inclusion certificate program that our faculty and staff can engage in. That is going to launch this fall. So we're encouraging our community to get involved in this work and really show that they're committed, and then use that information to impact changes within the classroom and outside of the classroom. We're also engaging in a new training program. All of these programs will be offered virtually. And so there will be presentations on microaggressions, working with veterans, working with international students. How do you use your power and privilege? All of these topics are necessary so we as a community again, address issues that have crippled our nation and our country for years. We have to address the issue. And these are just some of the things that our ESU community is doing. I continue to talk about my collaboration and my work with the provost. She's been very supportive in making sure and ensuring that the faculty that you see in the classroom represent who you are, right? And so we have been doing work to diversify our faculty. That will not stop. And I keep talking about the importance of recruitment, the intentionality of the recruitment, but also we have to be intentional about retaining our faculty, right? Just as we have to be intentional about retaining our students. And so my colleagues have put forth a proposal for a mentoring program for our new faculty of color. We're going to roll that out to staff as well, but we are rolling that out in the fall as well. We want our new faculty to feel like they're a warrior and that they're a part of our community. So I'm just really excited about all of the initiatives that we've been able to continue to do, even in a COVID environment, even with limited resources, and continuing to meet via Zoom, sometimes face-to-face, socially distanced. I just need our community, our students in particular, to know that we are working for you. We know that ESU is not necessarily perfect, but we are committed to diversity, social justice, enhancing your experience. And we will continue to do that for you so that when you return to campus, you have the experience that you wanted to have, and you have the opportunity to engage and learn and do so and meet the goals that you set for yourself to be successful.
Thank you, Cornelia. I know there are a few more questions in there, so I want to go back to Justin and get a few more questions. And after we answer a few more of those questions, if we have time, I want to actually have a chance for Mary Frances Posterback, our Vice President of Economic Development and Entrepreneurship, to talk, because we're looking at the end game too. Someone said it earlier. You come get an education to go to grad school and to improve your conditions. Mary Frances, in the area she works in, does a lot of that, especially with the entrepreneurship. So I want to give her a chance to say a few words, as well as Dr. Jean Kelly. But let's jump back to a few more questions, Justin, so we can get those in.
Sure. How can we as students prepare now for distance learning? And do you have any recommendations to succeed at distance learning?
Provost Bruno, you want to jump on that one?
Well, that's a very good one, and something. Anything you can do is to be somewhat facile with the technology that you may need to be successful in a online format. I would want to refer to, and Justin, you may be able to show the link, but we have taken advantage to also give you advice of what laptop is probably the best one to get if you are able to purchase a laptop. Some laptops like Chromebooks don't work well with most software in the academic environment, and you may be disadvantaged by having a Chromebook. I also want to quickly add that we're trying to make as many laptops available on campus for those people who are close to campus. Our library will be open almost like as if it was fall 2019. We're going to have 7 days a week opening. The hours will be posted shortly, and the library is available to you both virtually as well as in person, face-to-face. We will be restricting it to 2 of the 3 floors because of just being able to manage it in a safe way for you. But back to your question, what we're also hoping to do through those incoming students, FYE, which is required for all incoming freshmen, will have a component of it this year that really will deal with the online format. We thought that was a great opportunity for new students to the college experience, that not only new to college, but new to an online experience in college, would have the benefit.
Did Provost Bruno freeze?
I think so. I think that's
and can someone, as she gets back, she said, she mentioned FYE. Can, for the audience, can anyone, someone tell us what FYE is, Justin?
Of their FYE course, their first will be helping you guiding familiar with the tools of D2L, our learning.
It looks like she's having some problems, some technical difficulties there. So I will step in her absence if that's okay, Ken.
Certainly.
First year experience is a 3-credit course that we have on campus for incoming freshmen to take to learn what is the experience on campus like as a freshman. It really is developed for our first time students. They go through a curriculum led by our tenure track faculty member that really is comprehensive about what to expect when taking a test. What are the tutoring services? What are the different services available to you as a student? And so it is just a regular class like any other you would take. It's about a semester long, and it has a lot of great resources. Basically, it's a resource-based class that helps you prepare for the 4 years ahead and even for the years after that. It looks like we have the provost back, so I'll send it back.
Sorry, I had a slight blip in the internet. It was a little bit like yesterday with the tornadoes coming through our area. Forgive me. But Justin was right on about the first year experience. But what's unique this year is that we're adding this D2L, the learning platform that we use.
Yeah.
Yep. She's having she's in that tornado again, I guess. So we'll come back to Provost Bruno when she's back on. Justin, you had other questions that you had teed up.
Sure. If you don't mind, Ken, I would just like
desire to the acronym for it, but we're
yeah. If I could just add about preparing to learn online. One of the most important things I would say is just communication with your professors, making sure that every step of the way you talk to them about your needs and what you need more of or what you need less of. Having that open communication with your faculty will really be critical to your success in any course, but especially as we move into a different environment and online. Thank you for that. And Ken, that next question for you would be, for students that already purchased a parking pass for the school year, will they be receiving a refund for the fall semester, or since it was already discounted, will it remain the same?
Well, it's an option for students. Actually, what we did with the parking fee for students, we actually created a single fee for the entire year. So students that purchased their parking fee pass earlier, they got a discounted rate. We changed the rate to a single semester rate. So if you purchase it now at a discounted rate, I would recommend keep that pass, because when you come in January, you'll be paying the semester rate, which will be higher than the discounted rate. We did that intentionally because of the uncertainty of the fall semester, with the possibility of interruptions occurring somewhere in the middle of the fall semester. We didn't want to have the situation where a student purchased a pass for the fall semester and it was interrupted. So I would encourage students, if you have a pass and you got it at the discounted rate, to keep that pass. But by all means, if you say, no, I want to get my money back, just contact the parking office, and they will actually instruct you on how to return your parking pass and to get a full refund of the amount you paid. So you have either option to go, but be warned, no, you won't get a discount in January. That was an early registration discount for the parking pass, and it was already at the one semester rate. So I would encourage everyone to keep that parking pass if you plan on using it, or if you plan on coming on campus, because there will be parking restrictions on campus as normal to make sure people are parked in the right location. We are required to do that by agreements with the borough of East Stroudsburg. So we will continue to do parking enforcement on campus. So if you're coming to campus, you do want to have a parking pass as well. Or you can always park on the streets with meters, which is not controlled by the university. That is borough meters, and you can always feed the meters.
Will students still be able to participate in clubs? Will they be active virtually, or will some be on campus? What might that look like?
I'm not sure if I don't know if Joe is still here. I was looking at Joe Acop. Yep, Joe Acop. Joe Acop, you want to address that one?
Ken, I'm also still here too. So,
okay, yep, I see you. Yep, we'll come back to yours, yes.
I want to give it back to Joe Acop, of course, too. We seem to be a team. But the other thing is, I just want to mention that both the Warrior TV and the radio are active. So that's two of the things that our students are involved with. I'm going to switch it back to Joe because I see some internet difficulty, and I just want to make sure the parents and students hear about it. But even as we speak, our Warrior TV group have been active, and our West Radio is getting ready for the fall.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, thank you very much, President Long. We're really excited. We're currently working with the club officers right now, and we will have clubs available in the fall. They will be operating virtually, and we will be offering opportunities for you to connect, learn, and for them to share with you what they will be doing for the fall semester. So yes, clubs will be active, and you will be able to be involved in them virtually.
Thank you.
The next question is about tutoring. Will tutoring be offered at the same magnitude that it is when it's in person? There seems to be like there was one person reports there was less tutoring services available in the spring, which seemed a difference from when we were in person.
You want to answer that? Provost Bruno, you want to answer that one? Tutoring services?
I'm trying to unmute myself, sorry. Okay. Yes, I'm very pleased to say that not only virtual tutoring, and I'm actually sorry to hear that there was a perception that we were less tutoring in the spring, because from the numbers that were shared with me, we were quite active. But the good news is we're providing both face-to-face tutoring as well as virtual tutoring. It might have been that we've had a harder time getting our peer tutors to be online remotely, because that was the other partnership with students being virtual, that our online peer tutors have to be able to tutor remotely as well. But the good news for fall is that we're going to have a combination of face-to-face as well as virtual tutoring. And you're going to be getting a list of emails at the end of this session. And one of them is going to be referring to Dr. Kelly McKenzie, who really handles the tutoring as well as the support services from the Department of Academic Enrichment at the university.
And I'm glad Provost Bruno mentioned the tutoring services. those are opportunities. So if you are an upperclassman in particular in special fields and you're looking for employment opportunities, please reach out to the Tutoring Center and others for job opportunities, because we are still performing those services and students are needed to help in those areas. There are other jobs on campus if you live in the area. Facilities is also hiring. We're doing a number of different things in the facilities area where there may be job opportunities. So definitely go online and look at the different job opportunities that might be posted for you. Or if you had a job previously on campus, reach out to your supervisor about other opportunities that you may be able to perform remotely.
And President Long, I know you addressed this, but we might have some viewers that came on a little bit later. If you could just repeat the information about getting your e-card, and then also the university's decision about waiting a little bit about spring 2021.
Certainly. So I'll answer the second one first. The question was, when will we announce whether we will have face-to-face classes in the spring? And I said we should wait until at least sometime after we get past the start of the fall semester. I'm looking at, we'll start discussions on that probably late September, early October. But a lot of that decision will be driven by what's happening in the environment. Safety is a priority for us, and we do need to keep our campus community safe. We need to keep you safe. So that's going to drive what we can do and what we will do in the spring. If we're able to bring students back on campus in a safe way, in a safe manner, and we're working on that, despite what happens everywhere else, we're working at different ways of doing that, including what kind of testing we can do and what kind of contact tracing we can do, and what is permitted and what's not permitted. So we're looking at a number of different things, including I just now received my little monitoring bracelet. Is something that we're exploring, which will monitor your temperature and other vital signs, and whether that would be something we can do that students can have that will help them monitor their temperature and their vital signs, and they're similar to a Fitbit. So we're looking at a number of different ways of trying to explore how do we bring this campus back and bring the campus back safely. So we're exploring those opportunities. In terms of the ID card, the ID card office, I haven't gone on their site, but you can get your ID card in two different ways right now. One, they are developing a secure way of you submitting a photo, and they're verifying that photo, and an ID card being sent to you, very similar to your driver's license if you're in Pennsylvania or in New Jersey and New York. I know they do it in those states. I don't know about every other state, but very similar to that. In terms of getting your ID.
Seems like we have a storm passing in the Pocono area. You know, that was one of the last questions we received. In that absence, why don't we move to Mary Frances Postupak, as the president wanted to do, and we could hear about some of the initiatives in her area. So Mary Frances?
So Justin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hear you great.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to welcome all of our students and families and friends to the Warrior family. Clearly, you've been hearing a lot about the quality of our academic programs, our commitment to social justice, and we are very, very proud of our innovative and entrepreneurial learning environment, which in this online virtual environment just requires us to be a little bit more creative. So ESU is a great place not only to discover what you want to do, but also to discover who you are. And we have a very robust career and workforce development component. And our workforce and development, our career workforce development team will be here on campus and provide both virtual and in-person services. So you can do career exploration, you can develop your resume, you can become sophisticated and refine your interviewing skills as well. So that's there for you, and we really encourage you to get involved. All of our students, from freshmen to seniors and graduates, all of your names will be loaded into our Handshake platform, and you will be notified that you have an account and you could activate it. So I encourage you to get involved and really discover what you want to do and who you are as you experience the Warrior family. And we also have an incredible, innovative and entrepreneurial program through our Business Accelerator. And our ESU students and our alums, we're very proud to say, are very innovative. And we have a Warrior Launchpad, which is a student incubator. So if you're a student with an idea, and you do not have to be a business major, some of our most successful entrepreneurs are coming out of the arts and sciences and communications area. So we have a Warrior Launchpad that will be opened, and you can be here in person or you can participate virtually. We talked earlier about different clubs. Our entrepreneurship club is very engaged, and we have a state system-wide startup challenge. So the 14 state system schools, all of the students compete. Last year was the first time it was virtual, and ESU, of course, came in first place. So Eric Deemer with Might Fight, a honeybee company, a company that protects honeybees from viruses, won first place in $10,000. He also went on to win a regional competition and $100,000 of in-kind services through TechBridge. So we have a really interesting entrepreneurial environment that really forces you, as Elijah said, to kind of get out of your comfort zone and decide what you want to do. We also have for our education members, majors, a professional testing center where you will be able to take your Pearson and Praxis certification test, and that will be open 1 day a week, and we're maintaining all the CDC guidelines. And you'll hear a lot about what there is to do at ESU. And in the Innovation Center, which we hope you do take time to come, and as President Long said, with your student ID, we can give you access to come in and get involved with our entrepreneurial programs. We also have in the Innovation Center the Dr. Jane Huffman Wildlife Genetics Institute and the PA Tick Testing Lab, where our students are testing ticks for Lyme disease and other tick-borne pathogens. And it's funded through a grant from the Commonwealth, and we provide all of the residents of Pennsylvania with free tick testing. And our students are doing the testing, they're doing the analysis, and actually the social media component as well. So there are some selective student worker positions still available, and if you're interested, let us know. But we really encourage you to come on campus, get involved both virtually and in person, and we look forward to seeing you at the end of August and early September. So thank you, President Long, for that.
Technical difficulties here. Actually, my computer just fell. It didn't help that I kicked it, but so I apologize for that. That's what I get for stretching out a little bit, too much there. But thank you all for picking up from where I was leaving off. Justin?
Yeah, I think to one of the questions, the point of one of the questions earlier, just being patient with technology and rolling with the punches. Everybody has some technical difficulties, so we certainly understand, and we're with you, and we're in this new normal challenge together. The next question, why are students who are required to stay on campus due to degree requirements forced to pay full price for suites when we don't really have a choice for housing?
The prices students are paying, they are, and Santiago may be able to help me out with that, but I believe all students are being assigned to locations that they originally had. But
no,
Santiago,
actually, we're housing the graduate students in the university apartments, and we're housing the undergraduate students in Sycamore, but we are actually charging the students the lowest rate for those locations. So we're not charging them extra because we know that they really don't have a choice. So Curtis Dugar, who's our director of residential and dining services, is actually working on that to make sure that when students are billed, they're billed at the lowest cost.
Okay, and that's the lowest suite cost. So if you're in Sycamore Suites, there's a variety. For those that are not familiar with the residential halls, we have a variety of different options for students during a normal semester. You have suite style living, you have apartment style living, and you have traditional style living. In our suites, there are also a variety of different options there. And what we're doing is you can have a single room normally in a suite, and then you can have a double or you can have what we call a double suite, basically 4 people to a suite. Every individual will be in their own suite themselves. So if the room outfits normally 4 people, you will be the only one in that room. Again, that's for social distancing, and that's to allow you to have common space to yourself. But as Santiago indicated, you'll be paying the lowest rate within the suite options for it. So you are not paying your normal rate of having a single or having one of the upgraded locations on that. So definitely a really good opportunity for those students that are on campus.
Thank you, President Long. At this point, that is all for the questions that people have submitted so far on YouTube. The one question that was asked again was just when bills will be due. And so bills are, as Ginger Coleman mentioned, hopefully bills will be sent out early next week. And they'll have a week from when those are sent out to pay the bills. So just to repeat the answer on there. Other than that, I don't know if you want to had anybody else to speak. I believe Jean, but I'll.
Yeah,
I'll
I wanted Dr. Kelly to say a few words, and then I'll close out if we don't have any other questions.
Hi, everybody. So for folks who weren't on the call earlier, my name is Dr. Jean Kelly. I serve here at the university as the Dean of Student Life. My major role here is to be an advocate for students and what students need and ways that we can help students to be as successful as possible. So if at any point you're struggling with getting connected to a service, you don't know necessarily where to go, doesn't matter to me if you're a new student, you're a returning student, you're a graduate student, you're a parent or family member, please feel free to email me. Typically I get those emails and can forward them off really quickly to the other offices or programs that can better respond if it's not something that I specifically can actually answer. This summer's been pretty busy for the staff over here in the Dean of Student Life office. Part of my role this summer was to help coordinate and manage the summer orientation program. So if you're a new student, you've probably gotten multiple emails from me at one point or another asking you to sign up for orientation or passing along other important information that the university needed you to have. So summer orientation program, planning warrior induction and whatnot. Some other just really kind of important updates for students in general though. So folks are aware, the university's care team. The care team is the organization, it's an interdivisional, interdepartmental group that responds when faculty members or staff members or students or peers submit a report about a student, them being concerned about a student, whether that's an emotional need or a mental health concern, or it's they're sick or you know, they're having troubles at home or they've been missing a bunch of class. That service will still be operational for everybody. We'll still be doing all of those meetings virtually. So please be sure that if you or someone you know or care about is struggling with some things, please make sure that you visit the care team website, which is esu.edu/care. And you can fill out a report there and let us know if there's something going on, and we can reach out to that student to provide assistance as best we can. The second piece, and for those of you who are or have been following the higher education landscape, the federal government back in May finally instituted what they call the final rule in regard to the updates to Title IX. For folks who are aware of Title IX, many of us who went to college a little bit earlier than the last 7 or 8 years, think of Title IX as the law that bolstered athletics in regard to female participation. But back in 2011, federal government expanded the interpretation of Title IX to really be also about preventing and addressing issues regarding sex discrimination, including sexual harassment and sexual violence specifically on college campuses. So when the federal government made the change to the Department of Education in May, that actually forced all colleges and universities across the country to update and change our guidelines and hearing procedures in order to meet the needs and requirements of the federal government. So ESU is more than on track for that. It's actually forced the Pennsylvania state system with representatives from ESU to examine model policies across the state system as well as other pieces. So all of that will be ready to go and in place by August 14th, which is what the law or the final rule requires us to do. So really in terms of from a student perspective, it doesn't really change much for you. If you or someone you know is being victimized, whether through dating violence or stalking or sexual violence, please, please, please come forward and let us know what's going on. Even though we're not really physically here this fall, some things can still happen in a virtual environment. If someone, for example, starts sending you inappropriate messages through your Snapchat, or starts emailing you constantly, and you tell them to stop and they won't stop, that could be something related to Title IX. So please, if you are in a situation where you feel unsafe or you don't really know where to go with that, if it's related to sexual violence or sexual harassment, please reach out to our Title IX coordinator. His name is Lonnie Albaugh. You can get all of the information as we update all of the guidelines and pieces at esu.edu/Title IX. You can get a whole overview to the programs and processes that we have in place and will have in place once August 14th happens. The other quick thing I did want to make sure that folks were aware of is that if you are a student who has completed 12 credits already at ESU, or if you're a transfer student, you are eligible to be able to participate in fraternity and sorority recruitment. So we will be participating in virtual recruitment activities through all of our different fraternities and sororities. We have 13 different organizations, a mix of social fraternities, social sororities, as well as historically Black organizations, both fraternities and sororities, as well as a Latina sorority. So if you're interested in any of that information, you can easily get to that by going to esu.edu/GreekLife. I'm always someone who likes to push a website so we can get some good information out there. As I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing you, even if it's just virtually. This summer has been really interesting because we would at least have some students around, whether working or doing orientation leader tours or having orientation on campus. So it's been a little bit lonely for those of us who have been here on campus. So it'll be great to see some smiling faces once we're hopefully back in the spring semester. But until then, at least virtually. If you need anything, you can always get in touch with me. But thank you very much for coming out tonight and listening to what we have to say.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. And as Dr. Kelly did reference, the ESU website has a wealth of information. At the end of this presentation, Justin will be putting up some contact information that you can jot down. But if you don't have a chance to jot that down, or you're not near someplace where you can write it down, if you go to the ESU website, we continue to update it. The University Relations team under the leadership of Brenda Friday constantly fields questions from students, from the campus community, as well as from parents. And a lot of those Q&As are out there for your benefit, so you can get the answers that you need. But if you can't find the answer on the website, don't hesitate to call someone at the university. We are here, we are open, and we can't wait to see you when we're able to bring everyone back. Thank you and have a great night, everyone. Justin?
Thank you.